What up, though? Your boy Meech, aka the Sea Saint. Hope everyone's doing well. Time for another fragrance video, and today we are going to talk about the top 5 fragrances that I wore in the month of January. It was a good month of fragrance wearing, but 5 fragrances stood out among the rest, and we're going to talk about them in this video right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the fragrance that was actually my fragrance of the month. This fragrance got worn at least once every week in the month of January, and that fragrance is YSL Myself Eau de Parfum. And this is a fragrance that's very nice. It is a citric white floral fragrance. You probably heard about it if you spent any time in FragCom. This is, signature scent worthy type of stuff. It's a very mass appealing fragrance. It has this soapy like cleanliness to it. It's really a beautiful fragrance. I understand why it has the mass appeal that it has. If I were someone who wasn't a collector and I just maybe had, a handful of fragrances in my collection that I was going to wear kind of versatilely every day, this would definitely be a candidate. It's a beautiful, beautiful scent. That's why it's number 5 on my list. I wore it more than any other fragrance this month. YSL Myself Eau de Parfum. Now, coming in at the number 4 spot, we have a fragrance from the House of Fragrance World, and that fragrance is Hardwood. Pause. From the House of Fragrance World. And this is a really good fragrance, man. I don't know why. I paid $18 for this fragrance, but it always garners me compliments when I wear it. Like the handful of times I've worn this, I get compliments every time. And this is a fragrance that is a interpretation of Bath and Body Works Mahogany Woods, which, depending on who you ask, at one time it was discontinued. I think it came back. I'm not sure if it's still out there or discontinued again. I'm sorry, I should have checked before I recorded this video. But if you can't find that fragrance, Hardwood is certainly a suitable replacement. This fragrance, of course, is very wood forward. This fragrance also has some spice, has this like orange type of feel to it as well. A bit of a dampness as well, kind of like if you go outside after a rainy day and you kind of smell the trees. It kind of has that vibe to it, kind of foresty type of feel with a little bit of sweetness as well. Longevity on this, not bad either. I get somewhere in the 6 to 8 hour range with this, which again, considering the price, that is pretty good. So this is a solid one, man. If you like woody, sweet, somewhat spicy, this is a good one. Hardwood from Fragrance World. All right, coming in at the number 3 spot, the newest fragrance to my collection. This is from the House of Versace, and this is Hawas Fire. And this fragrance was really a pleasant surprise. This is my first full bottle Hawas fragrance. I have a sample of the original Hawas. The other flankers I just didn't bother buying because they are takes on fragrances that I already own. So it would have been redundant, in my opinion, to buy those. But this is said to be a clone of Gisa by Imperial Valley, which I've never smelled. But as a standalone fragrance, this is kind of a salty, aquatic, semi-spicy, ambery sweet fragrance. That sweetness in the fragrance, I think, does tie it in a bit to the original Hawas because it is a bit of a bubblegum type of vibe before it kind of shifts to, what I think is more of a, I guess, ambery sweetness, not bubblegum sweet. This fragrance is a beast of a performer. 12 hours plus on skin. You spray it on your clothes, you're going to smell it the next day. This is solid stuff. This is Hawas Fire. All right, at the number 2 spot, another fragrance that was kind of a pleasant surprise to me. I'm not the biggest gourmand guy in the world, but because of what I heard this fragrance was a clone of, I decided to give it a try. Coming from the House of Zamaya, we have Tiramisu Cocoa, and this is said to be a clone of Amora Cafe by Mancera, which I have never smelled, but as a standalone fragrance, this is a really good gourmand fragrance. It's unisex. I would say it slightly leans feminine, so if that's not your vibe, this probably is not going to be the fragrance for you. But this has coffee, has a creamy ice cream note in it. There's also some boozy sweetness from amaretto, and then there's a biscuit note in the fragrance as well, almost giving it like this bready or like cookie type of feel. Longevity on this, very, very solid. 8 hours plus. Doesn't project strongly, but it kind of sits closer to the skin, but it definitely lasts a long time. I was getting several whiffs throughout my wearing experience. I like this one a lot. Number 2, Tiramisu Cocoa from Zamaya. And now, the best fragrance that I wore in the month of January. I only have a 5 ml decan of it. It's not labeled, so you're going to have to trust me. It is here. This is Dior Fahrenheit Le Parfum, and this was Love at First Smell for me. This has the violet leaf, of course, which is kind of somewhat watery, ozonic. It has a little bit of that petroleum, gasoline type of feel, but it's not nearly as much as the original Dior Fahrenheit, which I actually smelled like 2 weeks ago. I was in Ulta and I actually smelled it. And that one is a bit heavier on that, petroleum like violet leaf. But you get a little bit of that with this. But then this dries down to be kind of a spicy vanillic scent. There's licorice and vanilla in the fragrance. Man, I'm telling you, this smells so good. Absolutely full bottle worthy. I hear that Fragrance World has a clone, but I'm trying to avoid that and go ahead and get the OG. I'm still going back and forth because this isn't necessarily a fragrance that I would wear a ton. It's definitely a cold weather scent, but whether or not or how much I would wear it kind of determines whether or not I'm going to buy the OG or get the clone. We'll see. Either way, at some point, there may be a versus battle between this and the clone. If I go that route, again, we'll see. But in any event, it's full bottle worthy. It's an outstanding fragrance, Dior Fahrenheit Le Parfum. Well, there you have it, guys. The top 5 fragrances that I wore in the month of January. What were some of your favorites in the month? I would love to hear about them. Feel free to throw those in the comment section. Be sure to check out my social media for more. Please like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. That would be greatly appreciated. Once again, it's your boy Meech, aka the CI Saint. Until next time, take care. Peace.